Welcome back to Expand the Visual. I'm Jordan Taylor, and I am the author of what many have called the greatest book about learning of all time, How to Wash Your Brain, Rote Learning Secrets for Homeschool, High School, and Beyond. So, you may be a parent with a kid in school, check the book out, or maybe you're just someone who wants to continue the learning process. That's a very good goal in your life. Alright, but you might not want to go to school to continue that learning process. Alright, I'm going to give you something you should do better at the end here, because we want to talk about how sometimes the school system, unfortunately, look, let's be honest. We send our kids to the school system, or maybe it's college, you sign up, you're paying money, you expect that you're going to go into a system and you're going to come out and be better. That's the whole point of school, right? Is to make us better, improvement. But sometimes you go into the system and you come out and you're worse. That's what we call edugenic harm, right? Instead of healing us, they hurt us. Now, I don't think many people do this intentionally, but our school system is just so, it's kind of like made out of duct tape and baling wire, and it's just held together, and it's this weird thing left over from the 19th century, and it does a lot of bad for people. Here's one of the things it does that's bad. It uses grades. And you think, oh, well, we can't get rid of grades, because if we got rid of grades, how would we know how people are doing? Well, hold on, I'll get to that. Towards the end of the video, I'm going to explain what you should do better. But first, let me tell you why grades are kind of dumb. At the beginning of every year, when my students come in, I like to say something that shocks them. Alright? I look at them and I say, hey, I'm going to tell you something nobody's going to tell you. They look at me and say, what? What are you going to tell us? I'm going to tell you, or I'm telling you, grades don't matter. Yeah, they really don't. And I'll tell you why. I'll use an example out of my own life. I had this class called Math Analysis. It was basically pre-calculus. I really liked it. I liked going in. The teacher taught well. I paid attention to her. But I got it, when she showed us it. So then she would assign homework, and I wouldn't do it. Because I had other things to do, like play video games, unfortunately. But I went, I didn't do the homework. I would come back. At the end of the week, we'd be given a test or a quiz, and I would ace it. Because I already learned the material. What do you think my overall grade for the class was? Yeah, a D. Because I didn't do my homework. So I could get hundreds on the test, knew the material, learned everything I was supposed to, but got a D. So anybody who sees that D, they think didn't learn. Now let me tell you about another type of student. We have the crammer. The person who crams the night before, studies just for purposes of the test. Yeah, they do their homework, but they they're basically just going through the motions. They cram. They really have a C-level grasp of the content, but because they cram, they get an A on the test, they immediately forget it. Sometimes it's called a data dump. They data dump it from their brain, and if you asked them 2 days later any questions that were on the test, they wouldn't know, because they crammed and it evaporated. But what did they get? An A. Then there's a third type of student, the type of student that maybe has an older brother or sister at home that does the work for them. Maybe they pay a friend to do the work for them. Maybe they have a girlfriend or boyfriend who does the work for them. Maybe they sneak in a cheat sheet on test day. I mean, come on, we've all heard of this. So they cheat their way through a course. What grade do they have? An A. What have they learned? Jack squat. That's why grades don't matter. They're fake. Alright, it's faked data. The other reason you don't want to do this, though, is grades can be even worse than that. They can become a part of a student's identity. Let's say early on, you're having a rough day or a rough week. Maybe some things are going on at home, and you're this kid at school, and you are given a math test, and you bomb it, and the next thing you see is the big shiny F or D, and you internalize the fact that, oh, I am an F student in math. What do you think is going to happen to that kid's motivation? They're going to think they're naturally bad at math. When people label themselves as being bad at something, most times they believe they can't get better. So you might have taken a kid who just had a bad day or a bad week, you label them with a grade, And then that sets the tone, that could set the tone for years to come. And I'm not exaggerating. I have examples of people that this has happened to. So, grades, in my opinion, grades get an F. So what's the other way? The way that gets the A. It's a very simple principle and a very simple philosophy. You take whoever is trying to learn something, student or yourself, you compare the old version to the new version. A lot of times this can be done with like a pre-test. Pre-tests are great ways to do this. So you start off, you give a kid a pre-test on stuff you haven't even taught. They bomb it maybe, and then they come back, you give them the exact same test after you taught them, and you can show them, hey look, you got a 30% here, here you got 100%. I know those are still kind of grades, but the marks aren't the point. The point is the comparison between old self and new self. But the way I like the best is called a portfolio. So you can think of many subjects where getting a sample of student work, like right here today, a student of mine wrote some paragraphs on a piece of notebook paper. Now I can take this, put it in a binder, if this was the first writing sample I got from the student, and then I can go later in the year, maybe at the end of a unit, maybe at the end of a month, maybe at the end of a semester or a year, get another writing sample, and I can put them side by side and show the student, look, on this old one, you were a mess. You didn't capitalize anything, you had tons of spelling mistakes, it was hard to follow what you wrote. Now look, only 1 month later, how clean it is, you only misspelled one word, you have all your capitalization correct, it flows well, I can understand it, look how much you improved. Now that's addictive. If you can show that to a student how much they improved, that's how you get things going. And this works particularly well with students who are already behind. Let's say you have a kid who's 2 or 3 grade levels behind, but they make significant progress. Let's say they make a 1.5 years worth of progress in 9 months, but they're still not on grade level. Well, if you were giving grades, they would be bombing their current grade level. But if you could show them work samples in a portfolio and flip between them and say, look, this is when you came to me. This is you now. That gets them super excited, all right? So that's a great idea. But this goes way beyond school. Anything you're doing, you should have this kind of approach of comparing the old version of yourself to the new version of yourself. Let's say you're taking a cooking class, okay? You cook a dish at the beginning, take some photographs of it, maybe you feed it to your friends and family and you get some feedback, you just write down some comments, and then 2 months later when you're done with the cooking course, you make that same dish again. Take some new photographs, feed it to those same family and friends, get their feedback then and see, oh, what did I do better on? What did I not do better on that I thought I would? You're comparing work samples. That's all a portfolio is. You're comparing work samples, and that allows you to compare the old version of yourself to the new version of yourself. And that's how you really find out growth, not with grades. Grades are a system that is easily gamed, easily rigged to fool people, and sometimes accidentally rigged to fool people. So remember, the method, the portfolio method, is a simple philosophy. You want to measure growth, and the only way to do that is a work sample from the old version and a work sample from the new version. And then when you do that, I really think you're going to see your confidence, your students' confidence, your kids' confidence shoot up instead of labeling them as some weird letter or number or satisfactory or unsatisfactory. All right, grades are really dumb. Grades get an F, the portfolio system gets an A. And you know what else gets an A? The greatest book about learning ever. The one that teaches you how to wash your own brain, because that's what learning is. So pick up How to Wash Your Brain, Rote Learning Secrets for homeschool, high school, and beyond. You will not be let down. So the way to do that, you go ahead and search for it on Amazon. My name, Jordan Taylor, title How to Wash Your Brain, or you can just check out the link in the show notes. The other thing that you should do is comment on this video and be ruthless, all right? If you want me to die because I said grades are dumb, then please get your digital torch, your virtual pitchfork, and skewer me in the comments. You know why? Because I need that feedback so that later on, 6 months from now when I'm making YouTube videos, I can compare the old version of myself to the new version of myself. And that's what growth is all about.